Is camping. Day one begins today. Obviously, we're here at Bill's training camp, and fans must have heard you two were in town because this place is packed. Awesome turnout here today in Rochester, New York. Meanwhile, in Philadelphia, Chip Kelly acknowledged that his handling of the Riley Cooper situation 2 years ago could be contributing to some of the negative backlash he's receiving in the wake of Philadelphia parting ways with several high-profile players, including LaShawn McCoy and Brandon Boykin. Take a listen.
I think that Riley made a mistake, and I think, that's part of it. And we all backed him. Michael backed him. Jason Avant backed him. I think that's part of being in an organization and a team, and that's, I look at that as a specific incident, and he was 100% wrong. And it's those are things that should never be said, and I hope he learned his lesson, and I think he regrets what he did that day every single day. I mean, I see that in him, but do I regret what I did in terms of how we handled Riley? No, we don't.
Do you feel like there's a connection between them?
There could be, but I don't spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to connect X to Y to Z and all those other things. We have other things that we need to take care of.
Stephen A., we just heard from Chip Kelly. What's your reaction to his latest comments?
Skip Bayless. I don't know Chip Kelly. I watched that press conference yesterday. I heard it. You've never really heard me say this before. I don't want to know Chip Kelly. I have no desire to know this man. Riley Cooper made a mistake. And I'm on the record saying that, unlike you who wanted him gone, I had no problem with him staying on board. I think that he showed an appropriate level of contrition. He recognized the error of his ways. Again, the land of second chances, people make mistakes, and that's that. But to look at things in hindsight the way Chip Kelly has the luxury of doing, and to still sit here and say, despite obvious tension that has elevated and swelled to this level, which has clearly contributed to an abundance of black players on your roster feeling the way about you that they do, and for you to still sit there with what I would consider to be a smug mentality and say you have no regrets about how you handled it, to me, highlights exactly why he's not liked now. It makes all the sense in the world to me. It makes all the sense. It's been crystallized exponentially in my mind. Because when I look at the Chip Kelly that I saw yesterday, I see a guy that can be aloof. I see a guy that can be dismissive. I see a guy that can come across as completely disinterested in anything that you are feeling. Now, maybe it's all about winning football games. But if it's all about winning football games, why are you so sensitive to how Riley Cooper felt and how you saw it on his face every day and how the level of contrition that he showed is something that obviously moved you to inhale and to grasp that he may indeed have regretted his actions, and you understand and you empathize with him. But at the same time, the brothers on your squad, and by that I mean black brothers in this case, they're literally sitting around and saying to you, one talent after another, who are exponentially better than Riley Cooper, ends up being gone from your squad, but this dude ends up staying on your squad, and in hindsight, having the luxury of literally being able to look back on all of that. For you to still sit there and say, I got no regrets about how we handled it as an organization. I'm fine with it. It shows exactly why Trey Thomas said what he said, why LaShawn McCoy said what he said, why Boykin said what he said, and why a lot of players in that locker room feel the way that they feel. This ain't just about football, because if it was just about football, you would have took the luxury or took the latitude to say what you said in defense of Riley Cooper. And then pointing out Michael Vick and all of these other brothers came to his defense. Well, what were they supposed to do? You the new coach on the block. You running the show. They couldn't speak against him and potentially alienate one of their teammates in the event that you elected to keep him around. You understand? Not to negate the fact or to gloss over the fact. I know it's unpopular to say, but damn it, I'll say it. Riley Cooper happens to be white. And if you are brother on the squad and Chip Kelly's the coach and you already have your apprehensions about Chip Kelly, maybe it's a bit dangerous for you to go against Riley Cooper so openly. And maybe they were thinking about it along those lines. At the very least, Chip Kelly comes across as insensitive, and in my eyes, he came across as smug, thereby legitimizing the dislike that those players ultimately have for him. And I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know him. I don't want to know Chip Kelly. I just don't want to know him.
I cannot stress to you how much I appreciate what you just said. And this is why I love being your partner on this show. I am 100% behind every word you just uttered, because while I shouldn't have been surprised at the tone with which Chip Kelly spoke about this issue yesterday, I was. I was offended by it. And obviously, I'm a white guy, but I was offended by it. To sort of dismiss with this shrugging indifference a smoldering issue that has been acknowledged by several black players and one ex-assistant coach in your locker room as, I don't know, I can't connect the dots, maybe X to Y to Z. I don't have time for this. You don't have time for this, whether it's perception or reality. And I don't know where it lies, somewhere in between maybe. It's still a problem that smolders and is ongoing and could impact the success or the failure of your football team. And you deal with it with shrugging indifference. Yeah, Riley Cooper made a mistake. No, he didn't just make a mistake. He went so far over the line that I stood up the next day and I said, Coach, you got to cut him. You got to dismiss him from that locker room. And you know what? Herm Edwards is right. Michael Vick stood up the next day and I think saved Riley Cooper. And remember, Michael ultimately backed off those comments a little bit. Jason Avant stepped up and helped save Riley Cooper in that locker room. You can't just say, well, he made a mistake. No, it's so much deeper than that. And here's the bottom line. Chip Kelly just doesn't get it because he does not want to get it. He's not even trying to get it. He's saying, I got bigger fish to fry here. I'm trying to win football games. Don't bother me with all that little stuff. It's not little stuff, Coach. You know it, and I know it. And those black players remaining on that team, and maybe some white players, they definitely know it. It's a little fire, maybe a bigger fire than we know of, that needs to be put out by a coach who is dealing with it with the height of arrogance. I coach football. Don't bring me that kind of stuff. That stuff is reality in your locker room and in this day and age. And we just heard from a coach in Rex Ryan. Trust me, he knows all about that stuff, and there's no better coach at dealing with that kind of issue than that man who just sat at our desk.
But keep in mind also, guys, that not only, first of all, I don't think Michael Vick and them saved him, because I think even if Michael Vick and them had spoken against Riley Cooper, Chip Kelly would have kept them on board. The type of person that Chip Kelly appears to be, not to mention the fact that you turn around then and give him a 5-year extension. Yeah, it was just $8 million guaranteed. It was a $4 million signing bonus. It was a $22.5 million contract overall, which was a bargain for the year that Riley Cooper had in 2013. But you still signed him to an extension, okay? And this was right after you let Deshaun Jackson go. So I just look at it from that perspective, and it's just, you just see just a smugness to him. And I don't use that word often. I really, really don't. But I mean, the smugness to Chip Kelly, it's disturbing to me. I'm not going to lie to you. And what I saw in him, I'm going to repeat this again. From the days of Bud Grant to Hank Stram to Don Shula and Tom Landry to Bill Walsh to Bill Parcells to Bill Belichick to Mike McCarthy to Pete Carroll to Rex Ryan, the list goes on and on. There's a whole bunch of successful white coaches in the NFL. This has never been said about anybody but Chip Kelly. Ever. All the players, 1,696 players on an NFL roster. Black players are paraded through the NFL for decades. Not one coach has ever had this stuff said about it but him. He has been informed of this. He has been enlightened to that reality, that factual reality, and he still shows up with that smugness. I don't want to know Chip Kelly.
And bottom line, you know what?
We'll see how long he lasts with that attitude in the NFL. We'll see.
Chip Kelly could not care less whether you don't want to know him.
Right.
He could not care less about what LaShawn said or Deshaun said or Boykin said or Trey Thomas said. He's Chip Kelly. You're not. He better win football games.
And I like it when people don't care about what I think. You understand? It doesn't bother me at all because he ain't the one that counts. I guarantee you the brothers in Philadelphia care about how I think. How about that?
Let's leave it there because we're at Bills training camp and we have another Kelly joining us up next, a true legend and a class act. He's maybe the greatest Bill to ever wear the red, white, and blue. Hall of Famer Jim Kelly will stop through and talk about the new look Bills offense. There he is. Looking forward to speaking with him in just a few minutes. Stay here. First take from Bills training camp.